I feel like Snow White sometimes.
I was gonna say.
So does Jordan. It's weird.
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Prestige Living Podcast. So with that, who do you want to be? Hello, welcome to Prestige Living, your audio content showcasing the risk takers of Orange County making their footprint in the community. I'm your host, Jay O'Brien, with your co-host, Jordan Wilson.
Yes.
Yes. Jordan, what's going on today?
Jay, so far, what I've noticed is we've heard from a few different people, and a common theme I've recognized, it's a feeling of people either being burned out with their current situation and needing a change, or realizing that the path they're on isn't the one that's quite right for them. From my own experience, and I was a journalism major in college. For my entire college career, high school career, I knew I wanted to get into journalism. I was going to be an anchorman. That was my goal. But then I got into the industry. I got into the newsroom environment, and I don't know. It wasn't for me. I just felt burnt out, and all of a sudden I had this huge shift, going from knowing exactly what I wanted to do for almost 10 years to, wow, Jordan, this might not be for you. You might need to do something else. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, I went to school for economics, and what I had thought was going to happen when I was in school, I thought I was going to get my master's in econometrics at the London School of Economics. That's really what I wanted to do. And I was looking up internships to work at the Federal Reserve and do all this stuff. And as I was thinking more and more about it, I just was like, for me, I really like the idea of the challenge. I was like, this is really difficult material to learn and to get good at, and the forecasting and numbers and all that stuff I really enjoyed. But I was thinking, then what happens? And then what after that? And after that? And after that? And then it's like after you achieve all those goals, where would you end up loving your job? Or is it like, oh, cool, I did all that, and now what? Right. And I kind of discovered that I think I'm just interested in it solely for the challenge and not for anything else. And so I clearly went a different path. And I think that it's critical to have a passion and really identify it and go wholeheartedly in order to monetize it and make that your career. And I think that we're seeing it more and more that people are veering from their original paths. Like for you, for example, you were in that media world, and I remember seeing you on TV at one point. You were like on a commercial or maybe, yeah. I don't remember what it was, but I remember seeing you on TV. Life. And now you're selling homes and you're still wearing that burgundy suit, and it's awesome.
If only I could grow the mustache. Well, our guest today, she's someone who I've known for a while and had a similar experience, going to school for something, and then all of a sudden the passion changes. She needed a change. So after starting basically from scratch, she now owns and operates a successful dog grooming business in Orange County. So let's say hello to Michelle Reyes. Welcome, and thank you for being here.
Hey.
Hey.
So you said you're in Huntington Beach?
Yes, in Huntington Beach.
So when did this whole thing begin?
So I started the business in May 8 years ago. And so I'm going to be celebrating 8 years. And just basically out of the home, talking with my mom, and just realized what we wanted to do and where we wanted to go and the city that we wanted to stay in. So
it's a brick and mortar in Huntington Beach. It's not like a mobile pet grooming thing.
Right, it is.
So how do you find that to be competition with people that are going directly to the homes, or you have enough of a loyal client base where people come directly to you, they'd rather go to your location?
I've never actually had a very competitive, it hasn't been competitive for us actually, ever, thankfully.
Wow, that's awesome.
I would say in the beginning, of course, you had that standard issue of feeling, okay, wait, do we have enough clients today? Am I going to be able to pay my bills this week? Okay, well, food's on the table. We have customers coming in. Our phone is ringing. All right, let's just keep rolling with it. So
when you originally did that, what were you doing prior to the grooming stuff? What were you doing for work?
So for work, I was actually, I worked for a swimwear boutique in Newport Beach, and I worked there for 6 years. And I was in the process of going to start a dental hygiene program. So all the time while I was working there, it was actually something I really enjoyed. I love working for the boutique, and I'm a huge fan of swimwear lines. So it was something I really enjoyed. However, I started learning about my passion for animals while working there. And the name of the company that I used to work for, they actually named it after their first dog. So kind of over the years, I realized, here I am at work. They would bring their dog with them to work every single day. And finally, at one point, I had gotten my own pet. And at the same time, it was not exactly what I wanted to do with my future. So I just kind of was hemming and humming, going back and forth, what do I want to do with my life? And so I entered into the dental assisting program at Orange Coast College, finished with that, did all my prereqs for dental hygiene, and I was getting ready to actually, go to school for dental hygiene. And it just was something I realized over the time that I just didn't want to do it anymore. It wasn't a huge passion of mine. And I just put a halt on everything and just said, you know what? I don't know what I want to do now. Let's quit everything.
Quit everything and start a business.
Yeah.
where 99% of business owners fail in their first year. I love that about this show and the guests we have on here, because to your point, when you said, am I going to have enough money to pay my bills? Am I going to have this? That's something that runs through everyone's head, and it's usually the biggest preventative for people to get going on what they really want to do. And they just kind of wait, and they think, well, if I could just for sure have enough money, or if I for sure, and it's like, if you're going to be a real business owner or an entrepreneur, there is no such thing as for sure.
You have to take risks.
Yep.
So how long from an idea to the actual store, and you feel free to plug the name. I mean, what's the name of the business?
It's called Happydog.
Perfect. 'Cause that's what you want. So how long did it take from, idea to the actual, you opened the door for your first customer?
So originally, my mom actually did start a mobile grooming business, and she was based out of Orange County specifically. And when I had quit my job at it was called Molly Brown. So when I quit my job at Molly Brown's and I had quit school, I said to her, like, do you need any help? Do you want some, just a little part-time here and there? And she said, sure. And so she, at that point, had been into her business for about 3 years. So I had started working with her just here and there, and it was just for fun. I just was like, well, a little bit of money and helping out my mom, so why not? So basically just started working with her, and then over time realized that it was really something that I wanted to be involved in. And she and I just talked about it one day, literally at work, just said, let's just open up, let's open up our location. Let's open up our spot. We don't want to be mobile. We can grow so much more. We could do so much more with staying, in a specific location. So we talked about it, and we opened up Happydog at our actual location within 2 months.
Wow.
So it was really quick. It happened super fast, and it just kind of, it all rolled together smoothly, though. It sounds kind of crazy, but.
So I'm assuming you sold the mobile, or your mom sold the mobile. Did you sell the book of clients as well, or did you bring those clients along with you?
Some stayed, and then some came with us.
Okay.
So we started out with, a little bit of clients, but not too many, really. It was just, we opened up, and it was pretty neat because of the area that we are located in. It's just so many families, and, it's all the families have, like, their little dog, or a lot of elderly people too. Instead of having, their grandchildren, they've got their dog to take care of, or even young adults like us that are, say not married, or they are married, they have dogs instead of kids too. So. Well,
I know a guy like that, and Instagram
adorable.
and Carl we trust. So where's your location in Huntington?
It's off Hamilton and Burchard. Right by Edison High School.
Oh, yeah.
So
if you start this business and you've got, a handful of clients, maybe a little bit more, I'm assuming that people take their pet in, like, once every 2 weeks, maybe?
Yeah, we have weekly, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I would say the most rare actually customer for us is longer than that. So most of them do come in super, super frequent, which is really nice.
So one of the things that, I think I even mentioned this to a previous guest, is we always talk about putting things in your pipeline. How far out in advance do people book, or do you book appointments for your shop?
It's pretty, right now, I would say over the last year, it's standard for us to be completely booked for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. So before, it would be, when we first opened up 8 years ago, I would be closing up shop at 11 a.m. Okay, well, I'm going to Dog Beach and pass out some cards. That's how I met a lot of our own customers. And so now it's being so far booked, being booked for 2 to 3 weeks. It's a long time for some people.
Yeah.
We all have really busy lives, and if anything, I feel like a lot of our customers have taught me how to be so organized and have such a schedule that keeps me on my toes.
So when clients go in there and they bring their pet, do they just sit there and wait, or do they drop them off, come back?
They drop them off and they come back, and we are really, really well known for keeping the appointments to be short. So they're not there for too long. They're only there for a couple hours. But then also we have a free range, completely free range for the dogs to be able to play. So it's almost doggy daycare-ish.
Okay.
But because the dogs are leaving so quickly, they're too long, that it's not like there's 100 dogs running around, and it's not chaotic and crazy. It's fun. You walk in and there's so much energy with, I have 2 dogs and they come with me to work every day. So people walk in and they see all these dogs just having a good time, or hanging out, sitting in the window, watching people walk by, or we definitely specialize in making sure that we want to make sure that every pet is comfortable. So whether that's them being in a little bed, that's them having fun playing with a big golden doodle, or yeah, it's pretty neat.
So is it possible for the working professional to drop off their pet, around 8 a.m. and pick them up, or like 5 p.m., or is that too long?
Nope.
Not possible.
Nope, not possible.
Okay.
Nope.
And my second question is, what
Were
about...
you asking that for yourself?
I know. I think he is.
Guys, let's not put me on blast. Yeah, it's for me. So, also, this question's also for me. Is it possible, if you don't want to call and schedule an appointment, can you just be like recurring, like, hey,
Yep.
every first Friday of the month at 8 a.m. that's my slot?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's pretty much what I would say 80% of our clients have done now.
Okay.
They've created their schedule with what we have to work with. So, okay, we have a little Muppet that comes in every first Friday of the month. Yes, at 9 a.m. That's his time. It will never be given away.
Okay.
He's on there till the end of the year, and by the time the end of the year comes, it's hilarious. I have customers that come in, with their calendars. Okay, let's put it on the calendar. When should I schedule, Louie's appointment?
I love that. So when you'll meet Carl soon enough.
Can't wait.
So when we talk a lot about this on this show, we talk about business models and growth and sustainability. So how in your business environment do you create that model to be scalable? Because there's only so many days in a week, so many hours in a day, and your location is only so big. So at some point, the number of clients you'll be able to service will be finite. Whether that be 100 or 1,000, it'll be like, well, even if we're completely booked up from now to the rest of the year, the maximum amount of money we can possibly make because of our resources is X. Are you there, or what do you do to make it scalable? Do you open up another location? Have you thought about that?
I've actually played with a bunch of different ideas. We looked at actually purchasing a location that was going to be in Costa Mesa, that we could do a doggy daycare and a grooming salon. We were looking at that. Then I realized, wait a minute, we're still in the growing phases at our actual location. This was a couple of years ago. And realized, let's not jump ahead. Let's stay with what's working. and appreciate what we have, because we're really lucky. I've never had to spend not $1 in advertising ever. It's just been all word of mouth. It's been all referral. Whether that's me, going to a restaurant and leaving my card and talking about my dogs and telling them about Happydog. But then otherwise, it's me going to like Dog Beach, like I said, and meeting all different people and hearing their stories about where they took their pets and what bad experience they had. And my biggest thing has always been, I don't want to have I don't want to do quantity over quality.
Right.
So now basically the next phase that we're going into, because we are so far booked, is to be open 7 days a week. And that would actually help a lot with being able to grow more with what we have. That's my next step, actually. So it's just making sure that I find the right people to be a part of our little team. So
that was my next question, was how many employees you have currently?
So currently there are 6 of us. So we have 2 bathing assistants, and then there's 4 actual groomers, as in doggy stylists. So yeah.
when we talk about opening up a business and kind of going all in and betting everything on yourself, what are some sacrifices that you've experienced, or that things that you've had to give up in the past to get this thing going, whether it's the kind of car you drive or the amount of money you're used to making, or that security blanket, what have you? I mean, what are some things that you've had to sacrifice, whether it be time, money, energy, that have been the reason for this to propel forward?
Living at home with my mom.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. So did you have an apartment before? You were living on your own?
I was living on my own before, and I moved in with my mom it was great timing though, because us living together and working together was great for the beginning aspects of being able to really figure out what we needed to do with our business and constantly talking about it. So, I mean, I don't recommend that to everybody, that you should live with your partner in business, but
right.
It worked out great for saving money.
How has that evolved into now?
Now, it just, I stayed living with her for about 3 years, just to make sure I was solid and not going to ever worry about money. So, but I would say other than that, sacrificing a lot of time, a lot of my brain. Yeah, a lot of energy. My brain just so exhausted. I would come home some days from work, and I would work some days 12, 13-hour days, and I would get home and I'd be so hungry, I'd be so tired. I would just grab some cheese and crackers out of the refrigerator and a bottle of wine, and I would literally sit on the middle of my floor in my kitchen, just okay, I made it, I'm tired, but I made some really good money today.
I just picture like all of these dogs surrounding you as you're sitting on the floor, and they're all just like licking your face, and you're like, this is my job.
This is my life.
I feel like Snow White sometimes.
I was going to say Ace
so
Ventura.
So does Jordan. It's weird.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say Ace Ventura.
Oh, okay. I guess I could roll with that.
So another thing we mentioned a lot on the show is that you're the average of the 5 people closest to you. So in your life, do you feel that the people that you're most connected with are like-minded, or do you think that maybe you're kind of ahead of that curve?
No, actually, I would say mostly like-minded.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I try to stick with people who are definitely having the same goals and same interests in mind, and trying to motivate me more in life and not, bring me down. I constantly want to keep growing, and sometimes I feel like, because it's been 8 years in my business, sometimes I feel like maybe I'm a little stagnant right now. Maybe I should be growing more. Maybe I should be doing more than what I'm doing. And then I have to take a step back and realize, no, you know what? I'm in a good place. I'm in a really good place. I'm enjoying life, and I'm finally being able to live it and not have to have so much stress about it.
Michelle, one thing, you just touched on it. I'm looking at the notes from our phone call that we had like a couple weeks ago, and the one thing that I underlined was work-life balance.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that came across to me as something that you've probably nailed down pretty well right now.
Yeah, I have.
I think I remember you telling me like you're between your schedule and like you still give yourself enough time to enjoy life while also running this business.
Yeah, in the beginning, I worked so much and to really get our business to where it's at now. And I finally had to come to a place where about a year or so ago and realize, okay, work can't be everything. And just kind of took the time out and said, during the summer, I'm going to take, it sounds silly, but every other Saturday off. Just a little bit of a break in between. And so every other weekend, I was taking a 3-day weekend. Pretty nice.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we live in the best place in the world that we can have so many things to do. And I just felt like I wasn't being able to live my life how I want to. And the best part of, owning a business is that you do have the opportunity to have a say-so in what you want to do in your life.
Yeah, and I think that's critical, is to be able to maintain the balance. I mean, most people that are starting a business and provide that it's successful, you would assume are type A people. People that go out and get it, and because it is a self-employed occupation, it can almost be a double-edged sword, right? Where because you can work whenever you want, you never stop. Yeah. And it's one thing that you have to be conscious of and mindful to unplug and be able to enjoy life, and not just constantly work. I was telling Jordan earlier, a couple of my New Year's resolutions this year revolve around how often I check my email, and that it needs to be more regimented rather than sporadic. We're constantly, being a type A personality, you look at everything as a box that needs to be checked. That's another thing on the to-do list. Just do it, get the inbox to 0, and it will never remain at 0, and it's not sustainable. So it's like, wait for everything to build the critical mass and maybe check twice daily rather than perpetually every single day. And it goes into the whole work-life balance, because your mind needs to be able to relax and unplug a little bit. And our previous guest that we spoke with had mentioned that she gets very excited to wake up and go to work Monday morning. And that's something that I can relate to. And being a business owner, you could probably relate to it as well. It's like, there's no better feeling than Sunday night being like, oh, cool, I get to start over tomorrow, a fresh week, and not dread that. Yeah,
I feel like if you aren't excited about going to work, then there's got to be something wrong. Yes, the day-to-day sometimes can get a little old and a little gray, and you feel like, okay, what I need a little fire under me. What is it? You've got to find it. But it's true, though, because I mean, for me, I have Mondays off.
Oh.
No.
That's why you're here.
Jay and I just gave each other like a blank stare, like,
Jordan just wrote me a note that said, can I have Mondays off?
No Monday blues to me. I go blue skies.
Yeah, oh, I like that.
Go to the beach. Yes, absolutely.
Well, I mean, Jay, you said, and I think it's all about, your word choice. You said, I get to. Like, some people, when they wake up, they go, oh, I have to. Like, I have to do this. But for the people that look forward to what they're doing, they say, I get to do this, versus, oh, man, I have to do this.
That's the best feeling in the world. It really is.
So what's next for Happydog?
I have a few things in the works.
Talk about it.
Confidential or what?
Let it out.
Kind of confidential. Yeah.
Calendar, doggy calendar.
You name it. Accessories. I'm in the process of, well, I can't say it, but I'm in the process of kind of a little invention. So
a doggy invention? Okay, well, can Carl have the prototype?
Absolutely.
Will it fit Carl?
Oh, Carl is my 75-pound English bulldog who just turned 2 last month.
Oh.
So he's still a puppy, I guess, but he doesn't look like one.
Actually, that's perfect, because we'll need to operate it by weight and scale. So, he should be one of the little samples.
Are they breathe right strips? His snoring will rattle the whole house, and I can hear it across the house when I'm in the shower.
I don't know, but if you come up with that too.
But it doesn't bother me. I love the snore. So I got 5 questions for you.
Okay.
So number 1, and I want to know this with all the guests that come in here, what is your morning routine?
So my morning routine usually consists of just kind of unwinding. Even though I just woke up, I feel like my day is so crazy. As soon as I walk in that door, it's all over. My life goes to the dogs, literally.
I see what you did.
Literally, it really does. So as soon as I walk in that door, I can't stop. I don't stop. I don't take breaks. Of course, I eat, but it's like I'm a snacker. So the only time I get to just kind of chill and be able to take advantage of my day is in the morning. So I love being able to wake up in the morning, have my coffee, watch the Today Show, or if I am feeling, okay, I'm not too tired from yesterday, then I wake up, I grab my coffee, and I take the dogs to the beach for a little 20-minute walk just to kind of unwind the morning just so I can get into it.
Right, so that's like your preparation.
Yeah, I love it. I love mornings like that, though.
So when you're going over to the beach, do you always have like a stack of like promotional material, or do you always have something at the ready to give people?
Not anymore.
No?
It sounds so bad. I've been like really bad about wanting to give out cards because I'm so nervous about it.
You're nervous about
What
it?
makes you nervous?
Because we're so busy that
That's a
it
good
makes
problem
me
to have.
nervous. I'm like, okay, so if it's someone, I'm like, oh, is it a cute guy?
Is that why you got that card the other day when you were at the beach?
I don't even
was
have a
like,
dog.
I didn't even know like why she approached us because there's no... But now it all makes sense.
Right. But no, actually, most of the time, it's so easy nowadays, especially. If I'm walking with my dogs, I have a Pomeranian and a Westie, a.k.a. West Highland Terrier, right? And both of them are really pretty dogs, not to,
No bias, I'm
yeah,
sure.
not at all.
Was that a stab at Carl?
Sorry. But they're, I keep them looking beautiful at all times. 1, because they should, and 2, yeah, I don't want my little models walking around not looking all pretty, but
Right. Those
so
are your walking
naturally,
advertisements.
yeah, naturally when people see the dogs, they're like, oh, where do you go? And so I just always,
Funny you should ask.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it all started, though, and how we got so busy. Like I said, we didn't put any money into advertising. It was
That's
just
amazing.
keeping, just walking around with my dogs, and especially where we live, there's so many fun places to go with the dogs and dog-friendly environments. And the more people you see like that, they kind of say, "Whoa, we're fun, cute dogs!" They're so happy that people right away just kind of run to them and want to pet them, and so conversation gets started.
And now people can kind of do the advertising for you, because I think I just like did a quick search and I saw that you guys, like, all your Yelp reviews were like very high. Like,
Yeah, we have some really. I think the worst review I have was she was even complimenting us in the review.
that's funny.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the best place ever, but it's as in, no offense, but I had a dog. The dog was really mean.
So if that's your worst review, that I think you're doing pretty good.
Not so bad.
So what is your favorite quote or a philosophy that you live by?
Sun, sand, and drink in my hand.
Oh, I love it. There's a drink in her hand right now. Don't tell the listeners what kind of drink it is.
Is there Bailey's in that coffee?
Shh, quiet.
Okay, so when you were starting this business, I mean, it's been 8 years now. In the last 8 years, what has been your biggest struggle to date? Like maybe a time where you thought it's time to throw in the towel.
I would say probably the hardest point was actually trying to find the right people to work with me, and realizing how important that was, and realizing how important it was to have a really good team that operates well together. And, I didn't realize this up until probably a couple of years ago that, we might have one girl in the mix, or guy, shouldn't be biased or racist or to the genders here, but it makes sense that even if one just would take the balance off of our operation, it would mess everything up, as in how the day goes and how it flows. And So I realized with just making sure that I have the correct staff has been huge. I just didn't know that it would affect me that much. And in the beginning, it was just my mom and I. And then we would slowly add on another girl. Again, sorry, but it just always has been girls. I had one guy work.
I get it.
Now you're definitely taking Carl in.
Yeah, I'll make a couple laps over there.
Yeah, so over the years, I just realized that's the most important. And, when you're there for that many hours a day and putting in that much time, it does make a huge difference in how you work throughout the day. When you really like who you work with and you're working hand in hand really well, then at the end of the day, you can go home and just feel so much better about it.
I think what you said is really indicative of leadership rather than management. You said finding people who you work well with, not people to work for you. And it's so true, because every day it's going to be much more successful and it's going to move forward when it's a collaborative environment rather than this hierarchy, you know, and when they see you as a leader and not the manager. Right. So I have another question for you. What is your favorite book, or maybe a book that you've gifted to people the most, or something like that?
Well, I would say, only because I feel like this is something that if you haven't read, which I feel like a lot of people have, is the book called A Child Called It. I just think it's a sad story, but at the same time it's life-changing. And I feel like that's one book that when I was younger, when I was reading it, just thinking how awful it is to live a life like this little boy did. So that I don't know why, but that's always been my favorite one. It's kind of depressing.
So elaborate on that, the message there and how it made you feel. How has that been incorporated into your life today? I
think because I'm such a caretaker that I want to make sure that everyone's happy around me, and that everyone, including my animals, my brother, my family, my parents, and my friends, I always want to make sure that they are being well taken care of by their family members or their boyfriends or their girlfriends. So that's just a part of me. That's who I am.
And what is your biggest success to date?
Ooh, biggest success. Not failing.
Oh,
I like that.
That's pretty good. I mean, it's been 8 years running. So if people want to get a hold of you, and I know that you might be a little reluctant to take on new clients right now, but if someone wants to bring in their pet to Happydog, how can they get a hold of you? How can they reach you? Do you guys have an Instagram or a website?
We have an Instagram. We have a website, Facebook. So it's Happydog Grooming Salon. And you could just look up, on Facebook, Happydog Grooming Salon. It's in Huntington Beach, That's probably the best way.
Awesome. Okay, so that's Michelle Reyes at Happydog, and you can find it on Facebook, Happydog Grooming and Salon.
You got it.
Correct. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Michelle. It was awesome having you, and I will bring Carl in there.
I was just going to say,
whether you like it or not. I'll bring him in there.
Just push Carl. Don't even let her see you. Just let Carl saunter in.
Yeah, he needs a little pampering.
He'll have some cucumbers on his eyes. And
perfect. That's going to happen.
He'll get a full spa treatment.
If you would like to be on the Prestige Living podcast, or know someone that would be a great guest, go to www.prestigelivingpodcast.com. We'd love to hear your story.
And as a reminder to our listeners, this podcast is fueled by RE/MAX Prestige. RE/MAX Prestige services all of Orange County for tenants, buyers, and sellers looking for VIP service, zero pressure, and optimal results. Whether you're looking for your first condo at $150,000 or selling your $5 million luxury home, we are your solution. This week's testimonial comes from Julia Chase, and says, RE/MAX Prestige is truly the definition of professional, ethical, and dedicated. My husband and I started our home search with 2 different realtors that were nothing but a disappointment and unfortunately tainted our views of Southern California realtors. Fortunately, our mortgage representative recommended we contact RE/MAX Prestige, and immediately we noticed a difference. They took the time to understand our needs, wants, and worked with us to navigate and understand the crazy OC real estate market. We knew we could count on RE/MAX Prestige to ask the right questions, negotiate on our behalf, and be honest with us throughout the process. Our agent always answered our calls, emails, and texts right away, and trust me, we had many questions. I would without hesitation recommend RE/MAX Prestige to family and friends looking for a realtor. We have them to thank for helping us find our perfect first home. So there you have it, another example of our core philosophy, representing our clients' best interests at all times. Like us on Facebook by searching RE/MAX Prestige, and feel free to reach us online. You can reach us at prestigelivingpodcast.com, or you can send us an email directly at prestigelivingpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening.